Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Carla Sanders, the Cosmic Crone. Hi. Excuse me while Facebook does its burping. So, I am Carla Sanders, the Cosmic Crone, and I am here to bring you the beautiful, extraordinary full moon in Scorpio. Divine Feminine astrology reading dedicated to the dark goddess. So, I'm glad you're here with me, whether you're listening on the recording or you're showing up live on my page or whether you're seeing this later on YouTube. Let me get the chart up. Why do I call this a dark goddess full moon? Well, that's pretty easy. There is a quadruple conjunction going on. The sun is conjunct Algol. Algol is the Lilith star, or known to the ancient Greeks as the Eye of Medusa. So Algol has always represented evil, the evil eye, the eye that will turn you to stone, the demonized feminine. And I know her as the Lilith star, referring to the divine feminine, demonized, dark, powerful, fierce, and very much engaged in local astrology, pretty much since the Great American Eclipse in August of 2017. That eclipse was square Algol, and that's pretty important. It opened up. It was the beginning of the reign of backlash. The serious, we aren't taking any prisoners backlash. There's a lot that's changed in the United States and in the world since then. And it would seem that eclipse opened the door. Well, we just had an eclipse. It was an eclipse in Taurus, and it felt the Great American Eclipse was in Leo. This eclipse is in Taurus that just happened, which is very different energy than Leo, and there was a lot of Venus in that eclipse, which implies beauty, the divine feminine, the goddess, love, pleasure, attraction, embodiment, an embodiment of the things you hold most dear, your values, your ethics, your vision. So we're looking at a very different eclipse series, and now that we're at the lunar eclipse, the moon is in Scorpio at 2518, and the sun is at 2518 of Taurus, less than about a degree away from Algol. And there are two other planets nearby, Hecate and Sedna, and they are both just minutes away from the last degree of Taurus, 29 Taurus. And they are barely a minute apart, so they're sitting right on top of each other. Hecate, the crone at the crossroads, the one who conducts you back and forth between the underworld and the above world. And then Sedna, who lives at the bottom of the sea, the creator goddess who the shamans have to go down and make obeisance and adoration to her so that the hunters will have a safe hunt and will bring back food for the people. So these are very, and she also has a really intense traumatic story with a husband and a father. Her husband tries to kill her and enslave her, and her father does kill her. but her reward is becoming a goddess. So she represents a lot of darkness that we are working through as women, collectively and individually. And Hecate is saying, go, if you want to do that work, you go to the underworld. And the dark goddess is saying, when you do that work, you're in my presence. And I also can help you. So make your altar to me. I am here to bring you healing, grounding, wholeness, balance, and to shift the paradigm. And the sun is going to be over the next few days as we are completing this full moon and eclipse window. Now, all of this is happening, I should say, around midnight Monday morning. Where I live, it's at, what time is it? 12:14 a.m. Just after midnight is the full moon, and the eclipse, lunar eclipse, begins earlier in the evening, around bedtime for some of us, a couple of hours earlier. Lunar eclipses take a while. Solar eclipses are over in 10 minutes or less, and lunar eclipses can go on with their various stages for, 2 or 3 or more hours. So Sunday night, Eastern time, if you have clear skies, look up and find the moon. The moon will be right overhead or high in the southern sky, and see if you can detect the changes as the Earth's shadow begins to move over the moon, or the moon begins to move through Earth's shadow. So we've got the Scorpio and Taurus axis. The moon is in Scorpio. A Scorpio moon means that all of your emotions and your deep intuition, your deep knowing around the secrets of life, and I mean secrets as in the things we don't talk about, that's in high gear. It's on high alert. So full moons tend to be emotional anyway. And crazy happens on the full moon. Police departments and EMT services are extra busy on the hours prior to the exact full moon. And there's a reason for that. It is because our bodies respond to the pull of the moon. And when the moon, the moon at full and new moon, the moon is closer to the earth than at any other time. Or we've got the gravity lined up. And full moons also bring up a lot of projection. And I know this because I was born on a full moon. And so I have been working with that my entire life of what does this moon even mean? I see you, but I don't understand you. And so I make up all kinds of things that moon might stand for, just to try to make sense of this extraordinary energy and this entity, this ancestor. I believe that all of the planets are representing divinities and ancestors, ancestor energy. And they are very much a part of nature, even if they're the farthest beyond our galaxy location, and some of them are. The moon is our nearest neighbor. The moon is the thing that comes closest to the center with us. And another thing that's super fascinating about the moon is it has a few relatives that, like the nodes, the north node and the south node. The north node is very close to the sun. The sun has passed over the north node, so both the north node is right smack in the middle of this eclipse. So there is a sense of destiny and the unfolding, the maturation and blossoming of karma, of what we've been moving towards for a really long time, beginning to land in this eclipse window in Taurus with that Venus energy. And with the projected opposition of Scorpio. We are looking at death, sex, and money. At the new moon eclipse, I did a retreat on sex and money, or the body and money, a love affair with money, I called it. We were looking really hard at one of the secrets of that is Scorpio material. Sex and money work with the same energy in our bodies, in our energy field, and therefore they have a lot of the same elements associated, emotional. There may be sexual trauma and money trauma. You may get it one way, not the other, or you may have both. There is sexual orgasm and money orgasm. There is sexual power and money power. Sexual creativity and money as a medium and tool for creativity. So, and then there's death. Death and transformation. Death is both dying, and there's a hell of a lot of dying going on right now between the pandemic and the war. We got extra dying, and more than that, an extra consciousness of dying. And that's happening through so many routes that people can exit, whether it's disease, old age, self-harm, war, starvation, accidents. And these things are all connected. There is a vibration in our world right now that is got the off ramp. People kind of backing up on the off ramp. They're choosing, you could say they're choosing to leave. They don't want to be in the life of this world anymore. But it's also possible that they're choosing to join the ancestors, that they have work to do that is not in the body. And I don't say that casually. I channel this. I had no idea that was coming up. So, it's, I'm not saying it to bypass any real harm, horror, grief, tragedy, or injustice that may be going on, or that definitely is going on, excuse me, but in any particular situation may be going on. But I am speaking a different perspective that may, in some situations, become clear as you move through your process of grief, of honor, of transition, accepting the way things now are, and deciding how you will show up in the midst of all this as a change maker, because we are called for that. So I'm going to, I want you to just take what was just offered and receive it into yourself as deep knowing, deep possibility, a point of view that may well bear fruit and make sense as time goes on. Because eclipses, the eclipse window, solar, lunar, is a portal. It is a portal for change. We walk through it. And when we're walking through a door, we are transforming. Even if it's unconscious at the beginning. Even if our consciousness, our experiences take a while to catch up with us, we have just in the twinkling of an eye shifted. And so, besides the actual physical deaths that we are integrating into our consciousness, we also have the metaphorical death. This is a time of metaphorical death. Something old is dying. Something that is complete is being left in our wake as we move on. And this can happen in so many ways. Collectively, it's definitely happening. And individually, we are all having our personal experience. And I took a moment to look at my chart to review how my chart is lining up with this eclipse chart, my natal chart. And it's pretty big. I've got, Nessus is traveling over my sun, which tells me, Nessus in Pisces is telling me that this is a massive moment of ancestral healing, and I absolutely feel it, and I've absolutely been taking steps and stepping into programs and finding resources to support me with what I know is going on. And that's not the only point that is speaking to this personal healing process that I'm going through. So when we're speaking about the collective, we look, what does Taurus mean? Taurus is the body. Wow. And we have the dark goddess and the body. And what has happened? 4 days after the eclipse, not even 3 days, a paper was leaked that indicated the Supreme Court of the United States has already agreed to repeal Roe v. Wade, to remove the availability, the legality of abortion as a medical procedure that a woman can choose if her life and her desire requires it. They're removing that. They had, according to that paper, they had already decided, and there is so much more we could say about that, and I have written, and many other people have written, and the op-eds of all the newspapers and magazines are writing. There is a lot of really toxic stuff in that ruling, in that argument. And so the dark goddess at this eclipse sign is standing up and saying, not on my watch. And I also want you to understand, take this and let it land inside of you and see how it does land and grow. It's, again, a lens to look at things through. The dark goddess is saying, the power of life and death belongs to the feminine. It belongs to the goddess, and it belongs to half the population of the planet, the embodied goddess, i.e. women. We own that power. It is invested in us. It is designed into us because we are precisely because we are the portals through which new souls come to this planet. And there are all kinds of things that can happen. Conception happens, and a very large percentage of the time, a child is born in 9 months. That's the biological gestation period, if all is going according to design. And also, those conceived beings, sometimes they don't make it. They don't make it past, a late menstrual period. They don't make it past 2 or 3 months. Miscarriages are incredibly common. It is absolutely routine. I would say that most fertile women who have sex with males, the vast percentage have also had a miscarriage of one kind or another. It is just so incredibly common because the totality of the mechanism of landing inside the womb and maturing to be born is so complex. So we are biologically the gatekeepers, and then we nourish the children. We feed them, our breasts feed them. And we decide, when is it time for the village to receive a new member? We used to know about herbal and other so-called natural natural, non-medical, because there was no medicine. Nature and medicine were one and the same. So we used to know how to prevent pregnancy, and if pregnancy came and it was not right, we could send that being on its way and say, come back later or come to a different mother. There was magic and medicine in all of this, and divine feminine power. And so being female has been medicalized to the point that we can hardly function. Everything from our periods to our body parts to our sexuality to definitely pregnancy, birth, and the neonatal time when we've got a newborn. It's this strange blend of medicalized and ignored. And once again, we went to death and now we're talking birth. So that is what this Supreme Court decision, what Roe versus Wade was about. I don't know that the world at large recognizes that, but it really is about, it was the age of reason, the industrial age's version of saying we've got to give that power back to the women because we took it away and it does not belong to us. The state, the church, the masculine does not own that power of life and death. It is invested in the feminine. And that's one of the reasons, now we're going back again to the full moon and the eclipse in Scorpio. It's one of the reasons why we don't talk about Scorpio matters. Because if we think about way back in time, at the beginning of astrology, when Scorpio acquired its meanings, it was about sacredness. It was taboo. From a perspective of sacredness, you did not take sex, death, and wealth and make them mundane. They were in the realm of the temple and the priestess and the priest, and in the realm of nature. And then shortly after astrology was invented, as far as we know, patriarchy was also invented, and then it became about keep it secret because we are usurping the power. So that's Scorpio. So here we are generally in the collective full moon astrology chart. We've got the body and beauty and feminine power, and we have the moon, grandmother moon is how I know her, in Scorpio, stirring up the secrets, the sacred, and shining a light on it, punching a portal in it. There is something we have to walk through now in Scorpio, and this lunar eclipse is saying we're going to walk through it. We are walking through it. And it just so happens that the moon and the sun and all those other planets that I mentioned are in a T-square to Vesta and Saturn in Aquarius. Now, Aquarius has been busy, just like Capricorn has been busy. Vesta, in between the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse, Vesta had a conjunction about a week ago with Saturn. She was pretty close. She was applying. She was bringing all of her sacred energy into the law. And I've just had a flash on the Supreme Court, the corporation, the institution, the church. Saturn stands for all those things, but he also stands for natural law, the laws of magic, the laws of ritual, the container, the womb, especially with Jupiter. If you put Saturn and Jupiter get together, you have a description of the womb, which is kind of interesting since they are the biggest guys in the zodiac. So the priestess stepped up to Saturn and she took some power from him. She knows she had a meeting with him. In fact, I did not look up the chart for when that report was released. So I'm going to. But I think Vesta was right on top of Saturn. The two of them were together. So the priestess. And I claim Vesta. There is no priestess of the patriarchy. If anything, she showed up there as a protection. She may have had an influence on whether or not that paper was released. And I don't know how. I don't know if anyone does at this point. So maybe Vesta gave us a warning so that it didn't come out 3 months hence as a done deal. Vesta woke us up. She encountered Saturn. She gave him a talking to, and she says, no, you're not getting away with this. And so right now, though, Vesta's moving right along. She's heading towards Pisces. But they're locked in. They're locked at this moment of the eclipse on Sunday night, Monday morning. And I think that means we have a battle ahead. We definitely have a battle ahead. It doesn't take an astrology chart to show you that, but they are affirming that there is a battle. And it is a battle between the patriarchal institution and the priestess of the divine feminine temple. And it's important that we know exactly what it means. Like I've described before, it's not just the story about what the law says or what doctors can and cannot do or medical procedures. This is about the essence of feminine power over life and death, which absolutely engages sexual energy completely. The power of our sexuality, the power of our orgasm, the power of our wombs is all wrapped up in this. And that is the power that we are invoking. Whatever journey we have to go through to bring this back into truth and balance. Whatever grief we have to experience. I referred to grief earlier, talking about the death aspect of the dark goddess in Scorpio. And I think I can feel that this full moon and this eclipse is opening a portal into grief. We can feel our collective grief for what's going on. And this is strange because we know that there are factions. We have seen divides worldwide, but it's really clear in the United States and really clear as a citizen of this country. I have some awareness of what's going on in the news in my country. And so I see the factions, and I see how each one, if you stripped away the faces, the costumes, some of the nouns and pronouns and names that might be used, the active and emotional language from both sides is the same. The trigger language is the same. We are saying the same thing to each other from completely opposite sides of whatever the issue is. And most of the issues are really serious life and death and safety issues for many people, many of our citizens and the planet itself. And some of them are just like crazy, like, am I going to have a sign on my yard? Um, am I allowed to, put up a crucifix on the town hall lawn at Easter time? That's actually a small thing. So anyway, we are embattled. We are embattled. And so what I have been saying, let me point to it this way. What I've been saying in the Womb Wisdom Portal, my group, which is the courtyard of the Divine Feminine Temple of Womb Wisdom, what I've been saying in that there is that we're not here to fight. We're not here to fight the other side. We are here to build each other's strength and work magic. And so an eclipse in Scorpio and with the moon in Scorpio, the sun in Taurus, with all those other witches. Sedna's a witch, Hecate's a witch, and Algol is a goddess who is in charge of witches. They're all saying, we make magic. We are making magic. You need change. You want change. You have something you need to accomplish in this world. Do it with magic. That is the power. And so that is a painting of women gathered together around a fire, around a light, womb centering and raising a cone of power, while the masculine supports them, defends and protects them while they're making magic. This is the order of the universe, at least this part of the universe where we live. That's what that painting means, and that's what we're called to do. And that is the work that I do with people, that I do especially with women, to heal that part of us that has been beaten down by patriarchy, that thinks there's something wrong with us because we're women, B, we have to be like men if we're going to get anywhere. And all of the dysfunction and disease and dismay and despair and desperation that creates. And so we come and we figure out how there is nothing wrong with us because we have that power. Let's learn how to claim it and use it and heal the abuse that has gone before. And how can we work in society and work to create a just and peaceful society for all of our people without having to become men? Something that I became aware of, men have testicles and testosterone, and that makes them men, and it has a particular energy, and it is essential energy. We would not have conception and life and art without that energy. Men are necessary. And women, when without testicles, when we have to show up in the world that is made for and by men and say, I want to contribute my talents in this system, great, be a man. We use our adrenals. And it's, many successful women are walking around, or mothers, not even necessarily, quote, successful, but women who have been working within the patriarchy to do and have and be what we want to do, have, and be, destroyed our adrenals. So, this eclipse is moving us through this eclipse time. There will be a solar eclipse in Scorpio in 6 months or so, or a few months. October 25th, I think, is the date. So we will be revisiting these issues then with the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse. I'm not sure if the lunar eclipse is still on the Scorpio Taurus matrix or axis, or if it has moved over, but we've got at least one more eclipse on this axis, and it's going to take it to another level when it comes around. So, just so you know, Venus, fresh off of her conjunction with Jupiter at the solar eclipse, the new moon, she is at this new moon, at this full moon, lunar eclipse, she is conjunct Chiron. So where Jupiter expanded her energy and the sensuality, the sexuality, the pleasure, the abundance, the money, the things, all of it, and made that solar eclipse seem really beautiful, which it was gorgeous. We've got healing, mentoring. In some ways, Chiron takes the best of Saturn and the best of Jupiter and throws a little Nessus in the mix and says, show up and do your very best. Be the best Venus you can be. Meet the challenge. Meet the challenge before you. And the challenge definitely includes internal healing of all the things that come up. It also includes external showing up and leadership and healing, offering the gift of healing, offering your gifts into the world to be the change. So that is a lot of what's going on right now. There are a few other things going on. Pluto is still in the picture. So he is emphasizing, he is saying, yes, listen to her when she says that it's about death and transformation, because I am here. I am communicating with the moon and the sun and Algol and Hecate and Sedna, and we're not done with this yet. We are on this path. And oh, by the way, I'm retrograde, so I will be helping you mop up any old ancestral stuff that you thought you'd already handled. And oh, did you notice that Mercury is retrograde? So yes, Mercury is going to be crossing back. Oh, Mercury. Oh, I promised I was going to talk about this, but it's all right, because 3 weeks from about 20 days from today, Mercury is going to station direct at almost 5th degree of Gemini. He's stationed retrograde on the 10th. That was yesterday. Was that yesterday? Yeah, I guess so. And he's going to go backwards. And guess where he's stationing direct? On top of Algol, almost to the point of the sun, which is 1/2 or 1/3 of this full moon eclipse. So all of this energy is focusing in on the dark goddess and what that means to you. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to give you some homework. What does that mean to you? If you were to say, if you were to make a list, just 30 lines on your average sheet of notebook paper, the dark goddess means to me 1, 2, 3, 4, and just stream of consciousness. Learn. Ask her, what does she mean to you? And she'll tell you. And she may have you turn the page over and do another 30. And the other thing that you can do is book a Divine Feminine astrology reading. Where is the dark goddess in your chart? Where are the 3 Liliths? Where is Nessus? Where is Ixion? And where does this eclipse cycle land? And where is the eclipse in October landing? So I will put the link in the comments, and I will be back sometime soon to talk about that more, because there's some changes afoot with the Divine Feminine astrology reading, and I want to make sure you know about that. All right. We have several days for you to get ready. And I recommend you get ready, because you are both processing the solar eclipse and getting ready for the lunar eclipse. And there is ritual and circle and dancing and meditating there. And here in the Northern Hemisphere, there's springtime and planting and longer days and short nights. Make the most of it. Thank you for being here with me. Many blessings. Aho.